Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into the world of tokenization and how it can empower communities in some pretty unexpected ways.
That's right. We'll be looking at its potential to revitalize local economies and even shake up traditional finance,
We've got a great mix of sources for this deep dive,
including a LinkedIn article called Empowering Communities Through Tokenization.
and commentary from some prominent figures in both blockchain and finance.
It's going to be a fascinating exploration.
Let's jump right in. One of the key ideas from the article is that tokenization can reveal really detailed data about communities' interests.
More granular than traditional methods.
Exactly. And the article highlights this panel discussion from the London Blockchain Conference 2024.
Led by Charles Simons of BuzzMet, right?
That's him. And what's interesting is the panel wasn't just blockchain experts,
It included people from wealth management, tech, even tourism,
a really diverse group.
which just goes to show how much potential tokenization has across all sorts of sectors.
For sure. And they weren't just theorizing. The panel gave some real-world examples of how tokenization is already making a difference.
Like how tokenized real estate investments could become more accessible.
Oh, I see how that could be huge for communities, especially ones that have traditionally been excluded from those kinds of investments.
Yeah, exactly. It could open up so many opportunities.
Did they talk about any other practical applications?
Absolutely. They talked about how to revitalize struggling town centers,
I've seen a few of those.
using tokenization to attract tourism and empower those independent businesses.
So they can compete with the bigger players.
Right. It's all about leveraging technology to, well, level the playing field
That's a really compelling case.
and, revitalizing those local economies.
But I imagine there are some, I don't know, nuances to consider.
Of course, of course.
Did the experts talk about, like, the importance of choosing what to tokenize carefully?
They did. They emphasized that we shouldn't just tokenize everything for the sake of it. It's about being strategic, you see. Choosing what to tokenize based on where it can have the most positive impact, like governance tokens.
The governance token.
Yeah, those can give community members a real say in how things are run.
So, like, imagine a local cooperative where token holders can vote on big decisions.
Yeah, shaping the direction of the whole organization.
That makes a lot of sense.
It really shifts the power dynamic, gives those communities more ownership.
More control. And since we're talking tokens on public blockchains, we're also talking about a system where no single entity has control, right?
Precisely. It's that trustless nature of blockchain that makes it so compelling for empowering communities. No need to rely on a central authority. The system itself ensures transparency and accountability.
I like that. Okay, that's all super interesting, but let's get a bit more specific. The article dives into how tokenization is shaking things up in the world of credit unions.
Oh yeah, credit unions.
I was actually surprised to learn that 139 million Americans are members of credit unions.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's huge. What's driving that popularity?
Well, people are really drawn to that, community-focused structure.
The member-owned
It's
aspect.
very much aligned with that decentralized finance ethos, the philosophy behind blockchain.
But even with that strong foundation, credit unions face some challenges, right?
They do.
Particularly when it comes to loan participation.
Loan participation.
I think the current processes can be complex and lack transparency.
A lot of paperwork.
So how can tokenization help with that? Streamline things.
Imagine if loans were tokenized, right?
Okay, yeah.
You could automate those payment processes.
Leading to greater transparency and efficiency.
Think real-time tracking of payments, automated distribution to loan participants,
Potentially even reducing the need for all those intermediaries.
cutting out the middleman.
That could be a huge cost saver for credit unions. But I'm guessing that implementing something like this would require jumping through some regulatory hoops.
Oh, for sure.
One of the main concerns I've heard is whether these tokens would be classified as securities.
Which would bring in a whole other set of regulations.
A whole can of worms. And then there are questions about know your customer processes.
EQIC.
And who would operate the nodes in those blockchain networks.
It gets pretty complex.
That sounds like a compliance team's worst nightmare.
It's a lot to navigate.
So are there any signs that this could actually become a reality for credit unions?
Well, it is encouraging to see that the National Credit Union Administration, the NCUA, has started providing guidance on tokenization for credit unions.
So it's not just a pipe dream.
No, it's becoming more feasible. It shows that regulators are starting to recognize the potential and are figuring out how to make it work within the existing framework.
So it's not just, pie-in-the-sky thinking.
Not at all.
There's actual movement towards making tokenization a practical solution.
Real progress.
This is all very promising.
It is.
While compliance teams might have their work cut out for them, this is a clear sign that things are moving in the right direction.
I'd say so.
Okay, so we've seen how tokenization can empower communities in a broad sense and then shake up the credit union space specifically.
Two very different areas.
But now I'm curious about the bigger picture. How is blockchain impacting the world of finance beyond these examples? The article touches on that, right?
It does, and it brings in some heavyweight opinions.
Yo, like who?
Like, for example, Henry Humphreys. He points out that while traditional financial institutions see the potential of blockchain, they're hesitant because of those concerns about, money laundering.
Oh, yeah, and fraud.
They're understandably cautious about adopting new technologies that could open them up to regulatory risks.
Makes sense. But isn't there a bit of irony there?
How so?
We've seen how blockchain is being used to combat those very issues, by increasing transparency and making those transactions more traceable.
That's a good point. And that's something Brian Gallagher, another expert cited in the article, highlights.
What does he say?
He argues that blockchain is revolutionizing finance by introducing these decentralized frameworks. They not only enhance transparency, but enable real-time settlements and clearing networks, making financial systems more secure and efficient.
Interesting. So blockchain could actually be the key to addressing some of those long-standing problems that have plagued traditional finance.
It's got the potential.
It would be a huge shift.
A paradigm shift, even.
And Mikhail Dunayev, another expert featured in the article, he seems to agree.
Yeah, he emphasizes those inherent benefits of blockchain. The transparency, the security, the power of smart contracts.
Smart contracts. Now, those are fascinating.
Could you remind me how those work again?
Essentially, a smart contract is like a self-executing agreement written in code.
Okay.
And it's stored right on the blockchain.
I see.
It automatically enforces those terms of the agreement. You don't need intermediaries, and it ensures transactions are executed reliably and transparently.
So we're seeing a trend here, huh?
Blockchain cutting out the middleman.
Boosting transparency.
And streamlining those processes.
Seems like a win for consumers.
For sure. Panathorn Laratawat, another expert mentioned in the article, points out that blockchain has already reduced the need for those intermediaries in financial transactions.
So interesting.
Leading to more efficient cross-border fund transfers and opening up new investment opportunities for individuals who might not have had access before.
Wow, yeah, that's really important.
It's not just about efficiency. It's about broadening access to financial services and opportunities for everyone.
That's that concept of financial inclusion, right?
Right. A major focus for blockchain advocates.
Giving those excluded from traditional financial systems a chance to participate in the global economy.
Empowering individuals.
And fostering greater economic equality.
Now, with all this talk about blockchain's potential, I have to ask, do the experts think this is just a fad, or is blockchain really the future of finance?
Well, Daniel Field, who's a big name in financial tech, he predicts that as the adoption of distributed ledger technology, or DLT, increases, we'll see a massive impact on the whole industry. Lower costs, faster transactions, a whole wave of innovative services and products emerging as blockchain tech matures.
That's incredibly exciting. It really does seem like blockchain has the potential to totally revolutionize how we interact with money.
I think so too.
And Kate Lehman, another expert the article cites, sums it up well. She states that blockchain tech has enhanced security, reduced those costs, and improved efficiency in financial transactions, benefiting both consumers and financial institutions.
A win-win situation.
But the potential for, widespread positive impact.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to get why people are so excited about blockchain. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about creating a more inclusive and accessible financial system for everyone.
And we're just getting started. As blockchain tech keeps evolving, we can only imagine what innovations and changes lie ahead.
This deep dive has already been so insightful. We've explored how tokenization can empower communities, revolutionize finance, and create new possibilities for a more inclusive financial system. But there's one more area I want to delve into before we wrap up this part of our dive. The potential of blockchain to drive diversity in the tech industry.
Ah, that's a big one.
Yeah. The tech industry has long faced criticism for its lack of diversity, and the article makes a compelling case for how blockchain can be a force for change in that area, creating a more equitable and representative tech landscape.
of a powerful idea.
So how does blockchain contribute to a more diverse tech industry?
Well, one key factor is its inherent transparency and meritocratic nature. Blockchain allows individuals to highlight their contributions and accomplishments without bias. Those records are immutable, meaning they can't be altered or tampered with. This creates a level playing field where everyone's work is recognized and valued based on merit, not their background or personal connections.
I like that. It's about what you bring to the table, not who you know.
Exactly.
Could this help break down those traditional barriers that have kept certain groups from fully participating in the tech world?
That's the hope. The article points to Ethereum as a prime example of how diverse participation in project funding and wealth creation is possible on a large scale. Ethereum's success shows that a more inclusive and equitable tech ecosystem is achievable.
Ethereum is a big player in the blockchain space. Can you remind me what makes them a good example of this potential for greater diversity?
Sure, Ethereum, as a decentralized platform, allows anyone to participate in its development, governance, and wealth creation. It has fostered a global community of developers, entrepreneurs, and investors from all sorts of backgrounds. This inclusivity has contributed to its success and serves as a model for other blockchain projects and the tech industry as a whole.
So we're talking about creating more equitable opportunities for everyone, but what about the culture of the tech industry itself? Can blockchain really influence something like that?
That's where Web3 comes in. The article positions Web3, characterized by decentralization and powered by blockchain, as a significant shift in the tech industry, particularly for underrepresented groups.
Hold on, remind me, what exactly is Web3 again?
Think of it as the next evolution of the internet.
Okay.
Web 1 was all about static websites,
Yeah.
just consuming information. Web 2 brought us interactive platforms, social media where we create and share content. Web 3 is about decentralization, giving users more control over their data and online experiences.
Got it. So blockchain is the foundation for this new, more decentralized internet. But how does that translate into greater diversity?
Well, Web3 dismantles many of the power structures that have traditionally excluded certain groups from participating in the tech world. It opens doors for women, minorities, and other underrepresented communities to build, create, and contribute in ways that were previously inaccessible.
That sounds amazing, but it's hard to believe that technology alone can solve such a complex issue like lack of diversity.
Of course, Web3 isn't a magic bullet, but it represents a significant step in the right direction. The transparency and immutability of blockchain ensure that achievements and qualifications are recognized without bias, providing a level playing field for everyone. This empowers individuals to showcase their skills and talents without facing the same systemic barriers that have existed in the traditional tech industry.
So we're seeing how blockchain can create more equitable opportunities. What about tangible benefits for women and minorities in the tech industry? Are there any concrete examples of how this is playing out?
Absolutely. The article highlights how Web3's inclusive nature is already creating positive outcomes for women and minorities in tech. They're finding new avenues for career advancement, entrepreneurship, and wealth creation. This access to previously unattainable resources and networks empowers them to break free from traditional limitations and shape the future of the tech industry.
This is so encouraging. It sounds like Web3 is opening doors for a whole new generation of tech innovators from diverse backgrounds. But I'm guessing there are still challenges ahead.
Oh, definitely.
Like what?
Well, while Web3 offers immense potential, we need to acknowledge the remaining challenges and the need for ongoing efforts to ensure inclusivity. One major issue is the persistent underrepresentation of women in the blockchain space. We need more programs that encourage women to explore careers in blockchain, provide the necessary training and resources, and support their advancement within the industry.
So it's about creating a more welcoming and supportive environment where women feel empowered to contribute and thrive.
Exactly. And organizations like the Black Women Blockchain Council are doing incredible work in this area. They're actively working to encourage and train Black women in blockchain and fintech, aiming to transform them from consumers to creators within the technology realm.
That's fantastic. It's inspiring to see organizations like this paving the way for a more inclusive tech future. What's their main goal?
Their vision, and the vision of many blockchain advocates, is to create a tech landscape that truly reflects the diversity of our society. They believe that by leveraging the power of blockchain, we can build a more equitable and just tech industry that benefits everyone.
I love that vision. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about using technology to create a better world for everyone. This gives me a lot of hope for the future of tech.
Me too. And it's important to remember that building a more inclusive tech industry requires ongoing effort and collaboration from everyone. It's not just about individual initiatives. It's about systemic change that requires everyone's participation.
Well said. Okay, we've explored the exciting possibilities of blockchain for promoting diversity in tech, but there's one more area I want to touch on before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Hmm.
Women in supply chain management.
It might seem like an unexpected connection, but the article highlights a fascinating trend in the field of supply chain management. More and more women are taking on traditionally male-dominated roles.
That's great to hear. Supply chain management is such a crucial part of the global economy. It's encouraging to see women stepping up to lead in this area.
It is. However, while progress has been made, the article acknowledges that invisible barriers still exist for women, particularly when it comes to negotiating and securing those executive leadership positions.
That's frustrating. We've come so far, but clearly there's still work to be done to ensure that women have equal opportunities to advance and lead in supply chain management.
For sure. And it's not just about fairness. It's about leveraging the unique skills and perspectives that women bring to the table. The article emphasizes how women are bringing innovation and diverse voices to the field, creating more resilient and adaptable supply chains.
That makes sense. A diverse workforce brings a wider range of experiences and perspectives, which ultimately leads to better decision-making and problem-solving.
Exactly. And the article underscores the importance of organizational investment in gender equity and diversity to support women in supply chain management. Companies need to create a culture that values and empowers women's leadership. This includes providing mentorship opportunities, leadership training programs, and equitable promotion practices.
So it's about creating an environment where women feel supported and encouraged to reach their full potential.
Exactly. The article offers some compelling examples of how women leaders in supply chain management are responding to challenges, such as pandemic-related disruptions, through effective communication and collaboration with suppliers. They're demonstrating the value of diverse leadership in navigating complex situations.
That's inspiring. It shows how women are driving positive change and making a real difference in the field. But why should companies prioritize supporting women in supply chain management? Is it just about social responsibility, or are there tangible business benefits?
It's both, actually. The article argues that investing in gender equity and diversity within supply chain management teams is not just the right thing to do, it's also good for business. Companies that prioritize these values are more likely to attract and retain top talent, build stronger relationships with suppliers, and navigate complex global challenges more effectively.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved.
Absolutely. And for women entering or advancing in supply chain management, the article offers some great advice. Embrace your unique voice, find a supportive environment, and give back by mentoring others.
That's a call to action for women to step up, support each other, and make their mark on the industry.
Precisely. The article also shares the inspiring story of Danielle Hansen, who has achieved remarkable success in supply chain management, despite facing biases and challenges. Her journey exemplifies the resilience and determination of women in this field.
That's a great reminder that success is possible even when facing adversity. It's a powerful message for anyone pursuing their goals in a challenging field.
Absolutely. This section of the article ends on a positive note, emphasizing how women in supply chain management are driving positive change and shaping the future of the industry. Their contributions are making a real difference, both for their companies and for the industry as a whole.
That's a great place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into tokenization and its impact on various sectors. We've explored how this technology can empower communities, transform finance, and promote diversity in tech and supply chain management. But there's so much more to explore.
Indeed. In our next segment, we'll delve deeper into specific applications of tokenization, examining its potential to revolutionize industries beyond finance and tech. We'll uncover even more real-world examples of how this technology is being used to create positive change.
Welcome back to our deep dive into tokenization. Last time we were looking at how this tech can empower communities and create more diversity in different fields.
We were, weren't we?
Today, let's shift gears a bit and explore some specific applications of tokenization, across different industries.
I think one area where we're seeing a lot of innovation is supply chain management.
Supply chain, okay.
So remember, a field where we're seeing more and more women in leadership roles.
Right, we were just talking about that.
Exactly.
I'm curious to know more about how tokenization can, enhance such a complex system.
It is complex.
Because supply chains involve so many moving parts, right?
Absolutely. Manufacturing, shipping, warehousing, distribution. It's a lot to keep track of.
It really is. All that data. It's mind-boggling.
And that's where tokenization can really shine.
Oh, okay. How so?
So by tokenizing assets and products at each stage of the supply chain, companies can create this, secure and transparent record of their journey.
A record that can't be tampered with.
Exactly. Think of it as like a digital thread that connects every step of the process.
Instead of relying on paper trails or,
Yeah.
the separate databases.
Yeah, all those outdated systems.
Yeah.
This is about having a unified system on the blockchain.
So much more efficient.
Way more efficient. And this real-time visibility into the supply chain, that makes it much easier to identify bottlenecks.
And track inventory.
Yeah, and ensure the authenticity and quality of those products.
Okay, so can you give me some specific examples of how this is actually being used?
Sure.
Like what industries are leveraging tokenization to improve their supply chains?
Well, let's look at the food industry for a second.
Food, okay.
Imagine a company wants to ensure that their products are safe.
And that they can be traced back to the source.
Exactly, traceability. So by tokenizing each batch of ingredients, they can track its movement from the farm to the processing plant.
All the way to the supermarket shelf.
The whole journey.
And consumers would be able to see that, right?
Oh, absolutely. They could scan a QR code on the product and see that whole journey.
Giving them more confidence in its, origin and quality.
Building trust.
Especially important these days with ethical sourcing and sustainability being such big concerns.
Huge concerns for consumers.
Makes total sense. So we're not just talking about making things more efficient. We're talking about giving consumers more power, too.
Empowering them to make informed choices.
I like that. Now, beyond food, what other industries are using tokenization to, level up their supply chains?
Well, pharmaceuticals are a great example.
Pharma, okay.
Tokenization can be used to track the distribution of medications.
To make sure they're not counterfeit.
Right. Preventing counterfeiting and ensuring that patients are getting authentic and safe drugs. Especially important now with the rise of counterfeit meds.
Which it can be dangerous.
Very dangerous, a serious health risk.
Makes sense. Any other notable examples?
Well, the fashion industry is using tokenization to combat those counterfeit goods too.
Fake handbags and all that.
Exactly. By tokenizing luxury items, consumers can verify the authenticity of what they're buying, making sure they're getting the real deal, not a knockoff.
Protecting both the consumer and the brand.
From the economic and reputational damage those fakes can cause.
So it seems like tokenization is as much about building trust and ensuring authenticity as it is about efficiency.
I'd say so. As consumers become more aware of ethical and environmental issues, tokenization can really showcase the sustainability and responsible sourcing of products.
It creates a more, transparent and accountable marketplace.
That's the idea.
That's pretty cool, actually. Using technology to encourage positive change in consumer behavior.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential.
But tokenization isn't just about physical goods, is it? It can also be used to manage and track those digital assets, too.
You're absolutely right. Things like intellectual property,
Or sensitive data.
all of that can be tokenized.
Interesting. How does that work? Can you give me an example?
Let's say a musician wants to protect their copyright.
Okay.
They can tokenize their music, creating a unique digital asset that represents ownership.
I see.
This makes it easier to license the music, keep track of its usage.
And ensure they're being paid fairly. That could be a game changer for artists. Gives them way more control over their work.
It could.
Now, what about data management? How can tokenization be used in that area?
So in data management, tokenization can be used to secure sensitive information.
Oh, okay.
Instead of storing actual data on a blockchain, you tokenize it.
Creating a sort of stand-in.
Right, a unique identifier that represents that data without revealing the underlying info, like a digital key that unlocks the data only for those who are authorized to see it.
So it's a way of protecting that sensitive information while still allowing it to be used.
Sincerely.
What industries would benefit the most from this type of tokenization?
Healthcare is a big one.
Because of patient privacy.
Exactly, where that privacy is super important. Tokenization can be used to secure medical records, ensuring that sensitive information remains confidential.
But doctors can still access it.
When they need to, it could really change how we manage and share sensitive data, striking that balance between privacy and accessibility.
The possibilities seem endless.
They really do.
It's amazing to think about how tokenization is impacting so many different parts of our lives.
We're just scratching the surface here. As blockchain keeps evolving, we can expect even more innovative applications of tokenization to emerge. It's an exciting time.
This conversation has been really insightful. We've covered so much from empowering communities to revolutionizing supply chains. And it all comes back to blockchain, doesn't it?
It does.
It's the foundation of everything we've been talking about.
But without blockchain, tokenization wouldn't even be possible. That secure, transparent, and immutable nature of blockchain is what makes tokenization so powerful.
So for our listeners who might be new to all of this, let's take a minute to break down what blockchain is and why it's such a game changer.
Okay.
What is it exactly?
Imagine a digital ledger that's distributed across a huge network of computers. This ledger records every transaction in a secure and transparent way. So it's basically impossible to tamper with the data. That's blockchain in a nutshell.
Like a super secure digital record-keeping system
Ex-
that's constantly being verified and updated by all those computers. What are the main advantages of that kind of decentralized approach?
Well, because it's decentralized, meaning no single entity controls it, blockchain is incredibly resistant to censorship or manipulation.
So no one can mess with it.
It's about promoting transparency and accountability.
That's what I find so interesting about it. It's all about building trust and fostering collaboration.
Exactly, and that's why it's transforming so many industries. We've talked about how blockchain empowers communities, giving them more control over their data and resources, how it's changing finance, making those transactions more efficient, secure, and accessible, and how it's driving diversity in tech by creating that more level playing field.
It really is remarkable how one technology can have such a big impact on so many different parts of our lives.
It feels like a real shift in how we do things.
It does, it does. But as with any new technology, there are some challenges, right?
Of course.
Things we need to consider.
We need to make sure that blockchain is used responsibly and ethically, and that its benefits are available to everyone, not just a select few.
That's important. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it to create a better future for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's where education and awareness come in. The more people understand blockchain and its potential, the better equipped we'll be to use it for good and to, avoid any potential risks.
This has been really eye-opening. We've just started scratching the surface of this whole world of blockchain.
We have.
But I know we need to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
I hear you.
But in our final segment, we'll get into those broader implications of tokenization and blockchain.
Looking at the ethical considerations, the potential challenges.
It's important to look at both sides, to acknowledge the potential benefits, but also the need for responsible development and implementation.
I agree. It's about having a balanced view.
We're back for the final part of our tokenization deep dive.
It's been a whirlwind, hasn't it?
It has. We've covered so much ground already, from those specific applications to the overall impact on different sectors. But now I'm thinking even bigger picture. Like, what's the overall impact of tokenization going to be on, society as a whole? Are there downsides, ethical concerns, things we should be thinking about now?
Those are the right questions to be asking. Any technology this powerful, we need to approach it with both, excitement, but also a healthy dose of critical thinking. Tokenization has a lot of potential for positive change, but yeah, there are definitely some potential pitfalls to watch out for.
Okay, so what are some of those pitfalls? What should we be keeping an eye on as tokenization becomes more, mainstream?
I think one concern is that it could worsen existing inequality.
Oh, I see what you mean.
If we're not careful, the benefits could end up concentrated in the hands of those who, already have wealth and access.
Leaving behind those who need it most.
Exactly. So it's crucial to make sure that tokenization is rolled out in a way that, promotes equity and inclusion right from the start. We need to create opportunities for everyone to participate in this new tokenized economy. Doesn't matter their background.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about using it to create a more fair and just society.
Absolutely. We need to be thoughtful, develop ethical frameworks, and really commit to making sure the benefits of tokenization are shared widely.
Makes sense. Now, another question that pops into my head is the environmental impact. I know blockchain technology, the thing that makes tokenization possible, can be pretty energy intensive.
It can be, yes.
So that's something we should be worried about as this tech scales up?
It's a valid concern. The energy consumption of some blockchain networks is something the industry is working on.
Okay, good.
There's some promising stuff happening with, more sustainable blockchain solutions, things like proof-of-stake consensus mechanisms.
Those require less energy.
Way less than those older proof-of-work systems. So there's progress happening.
That's good to hear. Seems like the folks working on this stuff are aware of the challenge.
They are, and they're actively looking for ways to make it more sustainable. As we move towards a more, eco-conscious future, Blockchain tech needs to align with those goals.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential for increased inequality and the environmental impact. Anything else? Any other ethical considerations we should be thinking about as tokenization keeps developing?
Well, data privacy is a big one.
Data privacy, yeah.
Blockchain itself is super secure, but the applications built on top of it, those might not be. We need to make sure that personal data is protected and that people have control over how their information is used and shared within these, tokenized systems.
That's a really important point. Data privacy is a huge deal these days, and we need to make sure these new technologies aren't putting people's sensitive information at risk.
Exactly. As tokenization becomes more common, we need clear rules, regulations, safeguards to prevent that data misuse.
It sounds like we're navigating uncharted territory here. It's exciting, but it's also a bit, I don't know, intimidating.
It is new territory,
Ah,
but it also feels like we have a real opportunity to get things right, to shape how this technology is used and make sure it's used for good.
I like that. A chance to build something better.
It'll take a collaborative effort, though. Policymakers, industry leaders, developers, everyone needs to be involved.
To figure out the best path forward.
We need open, honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of tokenization, working together to create a future where this technology really empowers people, strengthens communities, contributes to a more, just and sustainable world.
That's a powerful vision. It's inspiring to think about the positive impact tokenization could have on such a huge scale.
It's about more than just the technology, right? It's about using it to build something better for everyone.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from the technical nuts and bolts of tokenization to its impact on, well, everything really. Communities, industries, the whole societal landscape.
It's been quite the journey.
It has. We've seen how tokenization challenges those basic ideas about value, about ownership, about trust. And it could change how we interact with, well, the world around
It
us.
really could.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. We've talked about how tokenization is changing industries, but what about our day-to-day lives?
Ooh, that's a good question.
How could tokenization change the way we work, how we connect with each other, even how we experience the world?
What new possibilities might be out there?
It's an exciting time to be following this, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me neither. And who knows, maybe some of our listeners will be the ones shaping that future.
It's true. That's what's so great about technology. It gives anyone with the ideas and the drive the chance to make a real difference.
So to all our listeners out there, we say stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future of tokenization, well, it's in your hands.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the world of tokenization with us. Until next time, keep on diving deep.